Hey, good morning. We're learning a mimer Parshas lech lecho from Likuti Torah. This is the name of the mimer. We'll call it Hine Avraham. So this mimer is explaining the elevation that was caused to Avraham by his descent. Call it the wondrous elevation that was created due to his descent to his source, due to his descent from his supernal source. So Avraham is descending from his supernal source, but ultimately receiving great elevation. Specifically through this descent, he is reaching these levels that he reached. And ultimately, the entire Jewish people is benefiting from it because he's giving power for us, the Jewish people, to create unions through Torah mitzvahs in a physical way. So by us doing Torah mitzvahs, we're creating those supernal unions. This power was given to us through Avraham Avinu. So let's see. So it seems like a continuation. I mean, the mimer that we learned previously is the Rebbe's mimer, but it seems like a lot of it is based on this mimer. So, Hine Avraham was sechel nela mekoran Avram. So what is Avram? Torah says that Hashem says to Avram, "Go from your land to the land that I will show you." What does the name Avram represent without the hey, Avram? What's the purpose of this mission? It's like the first shlichus in the Torah. Hashem turns to Avram and tells him, go. There's a question, why didn't Hashem start with mitzvah or some kind of a mitzvah that he should do? So no, the first encounter, lech lecho. So, what is the purpose of this journey? What is the meaning haaretz, that you're going to it, this land that you're going to, and what is the meaning asher eko, that I will show you? So this will be discussed. So Avram was sechla nelam. It's a concealed wisdom, concealed intellect. Mikol rayon Avram. So Av, we know in Kabbalah, is Chachma, the Abba, the father. The mother is Bina, right? And it's not just Chachma, but it says that it's Ram. Ram means aloof, above, higher, great. So it's not just intellect, it's a sechla nelam, which means it's concealed intellect. We call Rayon, it's not something that anyone can fathom. Now, Avraham Avinu seemingly has the mission to take that Avram, to take that concealed intellect, and to draw it down, to reveal it. Taking Chachma Vatzilus, bring it down. Seder Ishtalshelus, Mibchinas Chakim Rav Chacham Ediyah, which means Seder Ishtalshelus means to create some kind of order of degradation, to start lowering it, bringing it down. Of what? What are you bringing down? The wisdom of Hashem, wisdom that is not known. It says in the Zohar, he said in Pasuk Eliyahu every Friday evening, Antu Chakim v'Rav Chacham Ediyah. Your wisdom is not a known wisdom. Your Chachma is not known. The point is, what is the objective of all this traveling? Is to take this concealed light that is in the essence of Hashem, and to bring it from concealment to revelation, to transform it, to create a situation where it's revealed. Where are you revealing it? in the lower worlds. Creation, formation, action. So Hashem already created some order of degradation. Avraham Avinu has to create now another one to reveal it. Meaning it's a contraction on top of a contraction. So what is the purpose? Ultimately, we want to have revelation in Bria, Tzir, Asiya, Gan Eden Elyon v'Tachton, Upper Gan Eden, Lower Gan Eden, Tanu Gan Evoim, the light of created beings, Shiyuchul Lekabel Gilotanu, that even created beings will be able to receive revelation of this delight. When we say Upper Gan Eden, Lower Gan Eden, they are in the world of Bria, Tzir, Asiya. Although they are defined worlds, because we call them Nivraim. Nivraim mean created beings. But they have a greater light, they have a greater revelation in them. Higher than the limited light that was already set. It was limited in the beginning of creation through the Kav, the famous concept of Kav, limited light. So the meaning of the verses in the beginning of this parsha, the deeper meaning of this psukim, is that we are dealing with the light of Avraham. What is the light of Avraham? Is above the Ishtalshelus, is above the light that you find in the Kav Hamida, in the measured order of degradation. And you take that and now you reveal it in the world. What is the benefit? How the neshamas are gaining from Avram's journey? It says, "V'al through Avram, the neshamas have, the souls in Gan Eden have immense delight in godliness because of the intensity of this revelation." Again, this is another statement of Zohar. It says the concept of Avram is Gilui, revelation. To take Avram, to take this wisdom, to bring it down. And this is also when we say Chesed is Gala B'Pum Adamo, it referencing also to the circumcision that Avraham Avinu was commanded to do. It says in the writings of the Arizal, both in Zohar, also in the writings of the Arizal, that the concept of circumcision is chesed. Chesed is gala v'pum adam, meaning that chesed, kindness, is a flow from the higher to the lower. Similarly, the revelation of Chachma, and it's not known Chachma, it's revelation that referencing to the sphere of Yesod. We know the bliss is connected with the Yesod, foundation. It says in regarding Avram, he was sitting at the tent, at the entrance, even though he was circumcised and he was in pain. He was sitting at the entrance of the tent, that Avraham Avinu was chesed. He sat, meaning sitting represents descending from his level. Like someone that sitting down, he is lowering his height. He sat at the entrance of the tent. He writes, El Pesach HaOel, he's sitting at the entrance of the tent. Revealing it, bringing it down to Malchut. So from Yesod to Malchut, as it says in the Zohar, the Petach, entrance, represents Malchut. And so it says regarding Avraham Avinu, Vehu Yoshev Petach HaOel, he is bringing the highest levels to the lowest levels, to Malchut. And there he brings it to the lower Gan Eden, the upper Gan Eden, brings it to all the levels. He says Avraham Avinu is not doing it by himself.
Yeah, Rabbi, one question. Why we make everything spiritual when it's physical?
Anything that we see physical, it has a spiritual root.
Because mostly what you're teaching, and I understand, I hear good, you give me clear, but it doesn't go in my head. It doesn't. If I do something physically, it's physically that I'm sitting near the oil so I could bring people and comfort people. What is the spiritual here?
So, like I said, everything that has a physical manifestation has a spiritual manifestation, meaning that by us, simple people, we have what we see is what we get. On a simple level. We know that certain things that happen because you do a mitzvah, certain things that happen spiritually, right? There's certain things that happen spiritually. But the Avot, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, by them it was revealed. They were on a higher level. So when they had a mission to do, their mission was not limited to the physical. Their mission was also spiritual. Meaning they had to accomplish and to set the, so to speak, to set the ground for Am Yisrael, for the Jewish people later. So they had to take all this potential that they had, spiritual powers that they had, and to give it over to us. How, for example, the fact that the Jewish people is, I would say, probably the smallest nation in the world, and bigger nations came and go. There's no remnants to them, and they vanished, disappeared, and the Jewish people continue to last. Why are we lasting? Because of us? It's because our forefathers prepared the ground for us to last for thousands of generations. So in simple words, there is nothing that happens physically without spiritually first happening. Anything that we see here, everything that happens, first has to happen spiritually. You cannot wake up from your bed unless your spiritual person wakes up upstairs. Your source wakes up. If your source don't wake up, you don't wake up. If anything that we do, it says a person is being judged every day. Every day a person is being judged. The Gemara is not joking. Where is the judgment? You see the judges sitting and judging the person. Happens upstairs. Everything that happens, it starts from the higher world. Anyhow, it takes time. The more you spend, the more you hear, the more you'll understand. The more you become recipient, the more you'll be able to understand. So it says that Avraham Avinu was not able to reveal everything himself. He needed Yitzchak. He says, we know that Yitzchak was Gevurah. Avraham was Chesed and Yitzchak was Gevurah. But in order to have both, Chesed and Gevurah, Hashem wanted a world that would be a physical world. Hashem wanted to create a world, because there's a lot of spiritual worlds, but Hashem wanted to have a world that is also physical. So Hashem wanted to have, in simple words, dira betachtonim, meaning to have a dwelling place for himself in the lower world. Yeah, but first we have to make it comfortable for him. Well, this is a physical world, but we need to make it a place that godliness can feel okay. This is really the time of Mashiach, where Hashem says, fine, you made me a house, you built the Beit HaMikdash, now I can come. The Beit HaMikdash inside you, the Beit HaMikdash outside you, both. So, in order for the world to be a physical world, and to feel itself, meaning that you still, if you don't feel yourself, then you're already godly. So a world that would be seemingly independent, running by nature, but despite the fact that the world feels independent, feeling his own existence, godliness would shine in it, which is really the opposite, the two opposite things that are happening at the same time. Two oxymorons. On one hand, it's a physical world that says, I have nothing to do with spirituality. On the other hand, Hashem wants specifically that world to have godliness in it, specifically a physical world. Now, in order to have these two opposite things happening, on one hand, a world is designed to hide Hashem, to conceal Hashem. Where is Hashem? We don't see him. That's how this world was designed.
You see him all the time, right? You see God every time.
No, I'm talking about revelation the way it is in the higher world. On the surface, people don't see godliness. We train to, we learn about it, we hear about it, we read about it. We don't see it.
I mean, when you do mitzvah, and you save someone, you know that he's there, right?
No, but knowing is something I want to see. Seeing and knowing is two different things. I know that Hashem is here. I learn about him. We thinking about him. Yeah. We're thanking him. We're praying to him. It's very nice. Do we see godliness? No. You can say, Eov said, for my flesh I see godliness. Eov.
Yeah.
But we talk. It's not tangible. It's not like you see your father. It's different. We don't see it. Obviously, I don't need to explain to you. We don't see godliness. It's a physical world. We see the nature, like you just said before. I see I'm sitting. I see I'm getting up. I see a table. It's physical. Where is the spiritual? Where is godliness? When you say where is the spiritual, you say where is godliness? Because godliness is the spiritual. So you say, where is it? Baal Shem Tov tells us that the physical is also godliness. But we don't see the godliness in the physical. We are limited. We don't see it. Maybe you see it. I don't see the godliness in this. I don't see any godliness in this. I don't see godliness in me. I don't see godliness in the world. I see in that nature. Right? Eov comes and says, well, I can see godliness in the world. So Hashem created a world that conceals him. Right? Conceals godliness. It was designed this way. But our job is to bring godliness to, so to speak, introduce godliness in such a way that it will be revealed. That's where we are taking. Hashem wants us to be partners in creation. And this is really our partnership. This is our share to bring godliness to, that godliness should be revealed over here. So now we have this two opposite things. On one hand, concealment. On the other hand, revelation. And by having these two, again, we have Chesed, Avraham, revelation, Yitzchak, concealment. Yitzchak is tzimtzum, hiding, restricting, limiting. Two opposites. But through them, through Avraham and Yitzchak, we can have a memutza, which is a middle path. Vayi erev, vayi voker, yom echad. So it says, let it be evening, let it be morning, and that would constitute one day. Erev and Boker, evening and morning, together there will be one day. The Torah describes them as one day only when it's Erev and Boker. If it's just day, it's not one Yom Echad, it's not one day. You have to have both, meaning darkness, Erev is concealment, I don't see, it's dark, and day is revelation. Again, that two opposites. Revelation, concealment. Together, it's one day. כדי להיות בחינת יש, ובו יהיה יום אחד, המשכת אחד שיהיה היש בטל, דהיינו שיהיה בחינת יש בטל. What does it mean?
What was before the sun, the luminaries, what was a day? Was it the same?
There was there was no such a thing. There was no such.
What was the day?
When we say olam, it says makom uzman. Olam is place and time. Makom uzman. You have the physical place and you have time, limited by time. Before the creation of the world, there was no makom, there was no zman. It says Ruach Elokim merachefet al pnei hamayim. The Spirit of God. That's what the Chumash is describing. There's no world. Didn't have a world. Hashem created the world. There's godliness. There was godliness everywhere. That's it. It says that
nature wasn't there for 2,000 years.
no,
2,000 years.
the nature is here 5,881 years. That's what it is. Tafshin Pei Aleph. But before that, it was a different type of reality.
So we still have 199 years to go.
According to the
Zohar.
Zohar.
6,000 years.
According to the Zohar, but what exactly does it mean? That's another story. Anyway, when we say in the creation, Vayi'er vayivoker yom echad, in order to create revelation of the unity of God in the lower world, you need to have erev, contraction, concealment of Elokut, and you need to have boker, revelation. You need to have both. And then you have bitul hayesh. What does it mean? You'll have existence, a reality that is nullified. To be non-existing and to be nullified, that's no big deal. But to be in existence, you are who you are. But then to nullify yourself, that's a chidush, that's novelty. But if chesed would shine by itself, just chesed, just flow, without contractions, without limitation, it wouldn't be nullification of the existing, the nullification of the yesh. Why? Because to begin with, there was no existent of yesh. So when it comes to our subject, Avraham Avinu is traveling. And it says, over here, it doesn't speak about the two interpretation of, maybe we'll mention it later, the Arizal and the Zohar, but it says Avraham is traveling lemata. So that's like the Zohar.
We're talking about when he went to Mitzrayim, or we're talking when he came back?
No, where's Avraham Avinu going? It says,
to-
lech lecho me'aretz lecho, eretz asher areiko. Eretz Canaan is Israel.
Right, he got there and then.
So so the commandment lech lecha is to go to the land of Canaan.
Fine.
Then the Torah will speak about that there was a famine in the land and he travels to Mitzrayim.
Right.
He goes even further than.
So when it comes to our subject, Avraham is traveling. It says that Avraham is descending. Why? He wants the unity of God to be revealed in the world. And this is really what Avraham was doing. It says Avraham publicized the name of Hashem. Vayikra Shem b'Shem Hashem kel olam. He called it in the name of God. That's what he did. So also on the physical level, he publicized godliness in the world. Meaning, over here we say, okay, spiritually, Avraham Avinu was this level, and he's bringing it down. He was Avram, and he was commanded to bring it down. But what is the bringing it down means? It means to reveal godliness, and that's what he did, revealing Hashem in the world. On the most simple level. But in order for it to be a world that has its own identity, that the world would feel independent, you needed to have the level of Yitzchak, the Erev. You can't just have Chesed, because if you just have Chesed, then you have Bitul already, nullification already. And as we said before, there's no big deal. It's not a novelty when you are bringing godliness to a place that is already nullified. That's a natural thing. You bring godliness to a place of darkness. That's an accomplishment. And this is what Avraham Avinu is doing. But we see that he needed Yitzchak to do it. So we find that only once Avram beget Yitzchak. Once Avraham is having Yitzchak is born. The revelation of Avraham can really take place. Meaning, already started, but actually, for it to take its course, to be manifested completely, is through Yitzchak. So in order to have this revelation, Avraham Avinu had to circumcise also. In order to do that mission, he had to circumcise. What does circumcision represent? He had to remove the foreskin. What is the foreskin represents? The hovering klipat noga, the shell of noga, which we know that the shell of noga represents a level that can be, it's a neutral, can be used either way, right? So what does it mean to neutralize noga? That's the outcome of the benefit of the circumcision, or the objective of circumcision. Meaning not to allow any kind of nurturing. It says in order for the supernal lights to be revealed down here in the lower worlds, through the Yesod, meaning through Avraham Avinu is doing a bliss now. Why do we need the Yesod? Because the Yesod is the one that gives to Malchut. Right? The Yesod is the last one that gives to Malchus. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach Hod Yesod, the bottom Sephira, is giving to Malchus. Then ultimately would give to Malchus of Atzilus, would give to Malchus of Bria, Malchus of Bria would give to Malchus of Yetzirah, and then Malchus of Asiyah. Now, if without the bris, the outer forces are receiving also. The bris cuts them out of the deal, removes the negative forces, separates them. They cannot get any nurturing from Avraham Avinu. And we see that Avraham Avinu in the beginning of his journey used chesed to everyone.
Well, he even did it when after the bris with Hashem, he wanted to give chesed to the guests, and that was the whole thing.
So once Yitzchak got into the picture, it was restricted.
Okay.
So it says this was also accomplished through the mitzvah of the bris. The mitzvah of circumcision removes the foreskin. Foreskin is the klippas noiga. Klippas noiga that surrounds, that hovers the bris. As long as the klippa is around, as long as the klippa is there, you cannot draw down revelation without the klippa benefiting from it, without the other side benefiting. So therefore, the amshacha, the drawdown, is according to the measure that is needed for the klippa, but not more. Why? So we don't want the klippa to receive anything more than it's capable or deserving. So the revelation is very limited. But when you are removing the ola, you can bring supernal light without limitation, and the klippa won't benefit from it. So when before the bris, you have to be careful. You know that the klippa is benefiting from it, so you have to restrict it and limit the amount that you're bringing down. But once you do the bris, all bets are off, and you can bring tremendous amount. You can bring even Avram itself, meaning the level of Chokhmah, which is concealed wisdom, you can bring it down. And that's why it says, after the mitzvah of Milah, in the text it says, Velochen ksiv achar mitzvahs Milah, ki av hamoin goyim. after the bliss, it says, father of many nations. It says, similarly, it's not understood. What does the nations have to do with this? The power of sorting out, of pushing away the bad and focusing on the good, elevating the good from the bad, happened through this bliss. Power of birur. We know that after the bliss, Hashem is changing the name of Avram to Avraham. He's adding a hey to his name. So similarly, what's the connection that it says, I made you a father for many nations? So according to what we learned before, the mitzvah of circumcision created the ability that such lofty level can be revealed down here without the chitzonim, the outer forces, getting nurturing from it. And from this drawdown, he has the power even to refine and elevate the nations. That's what the Avodas HaBirurim, the service that we do in sorting out, which we do all day even without noticing, and making choices. And in our choice making, we always choose between good and bad, or better and worse, right? Even when people go to the election, they make a choice, right?
Otherwise, why have an election? It could be like Russia.
Between good and bad, right? Constantly thinking this is better, this is less. So Avodas HaBirurim, which would really mean is to take sparks of Kedusha and elevating them in all the physical things that are in the world. It says, what is the tzaddikim? If we were able to see Hashem's perspective, Hashem's look at the tzaddikim, or the Shekhinah itself, the divine presence, how does it look at a tzaddik? So it says, Ki lema tzaddikim deimim b'fnei Shekhinah kener b'fnei avuk. It says in the Gemara in Psachim, page 8, it says that tzaddik is like a candle in front of a big flame. Shenichlom b'chinas bitul b'avuk, that they are one with the big flame. They are nullified to the big flame. What is the value of a candle in front of a big flame? It just becomes one with it. So if we would say the ratio between a tzaddik and the Shekhinah is like a candle in front of a big light. The more you bring the candle closer to the flame, the closer he gets to the flame, the more he becomes one with the flame. There's less of him, more of the big flame. So, exactly so, the sparks from Biyah become one. Okay, we'll continue.
Let me see if he's there. I'm nervous about him.